This insecurity, no matter how painful it is your protector. That inner critic, that mean bully in your head, is just trying to keep you safe. Hey you guys, it's Danny. Welcome to my channel. This video is all about insecurity and the real reason why we're insecure. What is insecurity really? Insecurity involves an extreme sense of self-doubt. Ooh, there's a little dust right in front of my face. So insecurity involves another one. An extreme feeling of self-doubt. There's a fear that you're unable to perceive yourself accurately. And overwhelmingly, what you are perceiving tends to be negative. You fear that any positive qualities you have couldn't possibly outweigh the bad ones, or you spend all of your energy trying to ensure that your positive qualities do. No. This is what happens. My cat will try to sit where the camera is. Get out of the frame! So there's a fear that your positive attributes could never possibly outweigh your negative ones. There's this fear that there's something wrong with you. So what happens? When you're insecure, you always feel the need to prove yourself. You always feel the need to prove your worth to others. Because within yourself, deep down, you have the belief that you are not good enough. You're not able to get any sense of validation from yourself. So you develop this huge fear of rejection because of the fact that other people are the only form of positive validation that you are able to consistently get. So what is an insecurity specifically? My definition of an insecurity would be a projection of the belief that you are not worthy or not good enough onto something tangible. So what we become insecure about is based on one of two things primarily. One, what our family or peers or society has deemed as wrong or bad or undesirable. Or two, the traits that we've been targeted or made fun of for. So the real reason you're insecure is because deep down you feel unworthy. You feel like you're not good enough. You feel like you are inherently flawed in some way. So what happens? You feel the need to hide or suppress all the ways in which you are bad. You feel the need to calculate how you present yourself, which qualities to accentuate, which qualities to diminish, as if you can control who you are. And so you become really insecure because you almost know that there's like this whole half of your personality that you're hiding behind your back, and you have this face to the world that isn't a complete lie, but it's a facade. It's only showing certain aspects of you. And so there's this fear that develops that other people are going to see through this illusion and that they're going to see all of this darkness. And even though this darkness isn't bad, because you are perceiving it that way, because you're almost putting it in this place of secrecy within yourself, you believe that everyone else would perceive this as bad too. The real reason you have such a hard time believing that others could accept you is because you have such a hard time accepting yourself. Overcoming your insecurities is not about getting over it. It's not about being more confident. It's not about to stop caring about what other people think. We can't just make ourselves not care. Oftentimes, the people that are telling us to not care about what other people think and to just get over it, it's because that's how they deal with their insecurities. They push it away, and they're not even as consciously aware that they're hiding something behind their back. Those of us who are really insecure, at least in my personal experience, are self-aware of the fact that we have this stuff about us and we're kind of going like this. But because it's been behind our back for so long, we don't even know quite what it is anymore that consciously. We just know that it's hidden. We just know that there's secret sides to us that we feel make us bad. So the real reason you can't just get over it is because it doesn't work like that. That's just avoiding the problem. For example, my whole life I've had an insecurity about my nose because it slopes down instead of slopes up, or instead of being perfectly straight. But here's the thing. This insecurity, it's not truly about my nose. What is this insecurity really about? For the most part, when we are worried about how we look, it's because we want others to perceive us as desirable. We want others to perceive us as attractive. The real insecurity is there's a part of me that feels not good enough to be loved. Aspects of me that feel like I'm not desirable and I'm not attractive and I'm not going to be able to bring a partner into my life. And so what do I project that onto? I project that onto some of the things that our culture or our society deems as less attractive. And for me, I guess, from my perception, my nose shape is not desirable. So if I just stop caring about what other people think, is that feeling of unworthiness going to just disappear? Is my need and want to belong and connect with others just going to dissipate? No. So even if I did get over this insecurity, that energy of I'm not good enough is going to project itself onto another aspect of myself, which is the more you heal that part of yourself that feels unworthy, the less you become triggered by the things you're insecure about. So what happens is my brain is producing thoughts about how I'm not attractive enough. My brain produces thoughts about how my physical appearance makes me repulsive to other people. In reality, it's all a reflection of how I see myself. So whose judgment am I really fearing? Of course, there is still that fear from other people and what they're going to think of me. But ask yourself this question. When people make fun of you for something you're not insecure about, does it hurt your feelings? For example, I'm really tall. I'm like 5'10", 5'11". When people ask me, oh, how's the weather up there? Because I went to an all-girls school, okay? I was like really tall there. Yeah. But when people would make comments about my height, it didn't bother me because I wasn't insecure about my height. That wasn't where my projection of unworthiness was onto. I don't know why my mouth just stopped talking. That isn't where my sense of unworthiness was projected onto. Because people my whole life would compliment that my height made me look like a model or how it would make me a good athlete. So is it really the judgment of others that I'm worried about? People can judge me all day for my height. But if someone makes a comment about my nose, if someone makes a comment about the fact that I'm really chatty in a negative way, it stings, it hurts, because it targets that part of you that feels that way. Because you've linked that quality in yourself to that emotion of unworthiness, of not being good enough. You believe these things are intertwined. So what's happening is when someone makes fun of something you're insecure about, it rubs up against that wound. It's like if I have skin here and it's just skin, that doesn't hurt. If this was an open wound and I do this, that's very painful. So what is my purpose in making this video? Why am I sitting here explaining how insecurity works to you? I want to show you that there's nothing wrong with you. I want to show you that everything you're insecure about is a gift in disguise. If I continued to be insecure about the fact that I'm really chatty, which still can trigger me, don't get me wrong, then I would never make these videos where I can rant about a subject that I'm interested in for 20 minutes. In reality, it's like an hour, but I cut most of it out because I keep talking. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Your greatest struggle is your greatest strength. The fact that I talk a lot has made me very good at articulating the thoughts I have in my head. But if I suppress those parts of myself because I think it makes me annoying, then I'm not being myself. And then I become insecure knowing that there's this part of me that might surface or might come up and I'm doing everything I can to push it back because I think it's bad. Everything has a give and take. So instead of trying to categorize which traits in yourself are positive and negative, start accepting all of it as it is. You don't need to prove yourself by accentuating your positive attributes and suppressing your negative ones, because you're the one that created that these traits are negative. Your family or society has deemed these parts of you as not good, as unworthy. And so you're putting all of this in a bag and pretending it doesn't exist, but it doesn't make it go away. So your resistance towards it makes you miserable. And you know what happens? These aspects of you that you're suppressing has more control over you. So instead of appreciating this as it is, seeing it for what it is, and allowing it to integrate into your mind, you're ignoring it, so it's going to just filter your perception. And until you address it, you won't even be aware that it's distorting your worldview. So you have to love the bad parts of you. And believe me, it does not feel good at first. It's uncomfortable, it's unfamiliar, it's painful, it feels inauthentic. But that's where you have to start. Because when you're starting at a place of insecurity, there are voices in your head and there's parts of your personality that are fighting against each other. So there's parts of your personality that shame certain aspects of who you are to keep you safe. Because in your childhood or in societal conditioning or even in past lives, these traits that you inherently possess have been deemed as bad, have caused you harm, have brought about a lack of connection. And so you learned that if you suppressed these traits, that's when you could receive love. That's when you could connect with others. But what that's led up to is now you're connecting with others who only like the qualities you are expressing and not the truth of who you are. So what insecurity really is it is the act of the parts of you that target other aspects of you in order to prevent those aspects from surfacing so that you can maintain connection. This insecurity, no matter how painful it is your protector. That inner critic, that mean bully in your head, is just trying to keep you safe. It's just trying to keep you from facing that bully outside of yourself. It's trying to make sure that you are accepted, but it prevents you from being accepted for you. It keeps you from being accepted for who you really are. And instead, you're only accepted as this facade. And so, you feel ashamed of all the parts of you that doesn't match up to this image you've created of yourself. A version of yourself that is worthy of love, that is able to connect with others. But you have to let go of this image. You have to release all sense of who you think you are if you want to truly feel confident about the totality of you. So what do you do about this inner critic? Don't ignore the inner critic. Don't suppress the inner critic. Don't concern yourself with trying to run away from these thoughts and just making them stop. The inner critic is coming up for a reason. What emotion is this inner critic protecting you from? So what you need to do is validate the emotion behind why the inner critic is coming up. Don't validate the narrative of what the inner critic is saying. Don't validate the narrative of your body is disgusting. Don't validate the narrative of you're annoying. Validate the emotion beneath that. Validate the part of yourself that feels unworthy. Validate the part of yourself that fears that they won't ever receive love. Thank the inner critic for protecting you and tell the inner critic that you don't need to be protected anymore. Let the inner critic know that you're ready to face these emotions. The more you listen to your inner critic, the more you let the inner critic know that their services are needed, that their protection is needed. See the part of yourself that has needed the inner critic to stay safe as a child, to stay safe in the world that you grew up in. And you know what happens when you do this? You don't even need to worry about making the insecurity better. A lot of the insecurities start to diminish on their own. And you start to love those aspects of yourself. If you believe you're unworthy, you will always look to others for validation because you are never able to get it from yourself. You will spend all of your energy trying to get other people to be what you need to be for yourself. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe for more, comment any other video ideas you'd like me to do, and like if you want to like it. I am now coming out with new videos every Wednesday. I'm going to keep myself to that schedule. And if I have some extra content, I will post it on here. So Very exciting. Gonna be making more videos.